We're back. I'm back. You're here. I'm whatever camera. It's time to turn on dark mode. I'm in the office. Don't have COVID right now, to my knowledge. I'm back. I'm back, baby.
Is
had a kid.
Is that your intro to the show this week?
That's my intro, dude. I had a kid. My name's Keegan. I'm a dad now. And this cam, that cam, Gibbs, it's good to not see you because you're in a glass bubble. But yeah, it's good.
Wait, you can't
What's
see
up?
through that
We're here
glass?
to talk about video games, tech, and not the 9 to 5.
But you can't see through that glass? You can't see Gibbs over there? You blind?
It's gonna be back.
Okay. I'm Taylor Floyd Muse. This is Dark Mode. Keegan, you know what? That intro is great. You get another pass this week, but you are indeed ugly this week, all right? Because your pass from last week is over. So
Okay.
we're here for a big reason this week. You are very excited about this one. You've been waiting for this one.
I don't.
You want to tell the people what we're here to talk about? Spit it out, Keegan.
Just Taylor. Very few times on the show do I get to go full nerd, like to the level of where you have to listen to me talk every detail of a comic book and comic book to screen. We're here to talk about Justice League, people. Justice League, put it right here. Zack Snyder cut. And like bullets.
You are on some different type of energy this week. I don't even know how to handle this right now. Because, like, to be fair,
either.
The words you said, you get to nerd out too often, or that to go full nerd. We do go full nerd, but not in the geek sense where you're like gone full comic. So, like, I understand that, but don't get it twisted. We are nerds. So, what did you think?
That's true. Whoo! Wow. Such a generic statement, but here, do you want like just like my if I did a headline, do you want that one first?
I don't know what I want. I just know you don't know how to get you got so much. Just turn the fire hose on.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Here's the headline. Okay. Snyder Cut blows expectations out of the water, but leaves me disappointed. Bet you didn't think that was coming.
Well, I would have hoped it was coming because, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. The movie was everything I wanted it to be. It was literally everything that like his trilogy leading up to the next trilogy was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It so what if it took 4 hours? It was beautiful. If you go back way back, he wanted the first Justice League movie to be a 2-parter. Makes fucking sense. And it's the reason why I'm disappointed. I want to go over that first because I don't want people to like get the clickbait and be like, oh, he's disappointed. I'm not. I'm disappointed that he won't be able to do the Snyderverse. I'm disappointed that this man did Man of Steel. He did Batman vs. Superman, which was for whatever reason, got cut up and butchered as well, but wasn't that bad and got like absolutely clowned. And it wasn't that bad of a movie. And it was leading up to Justice League to gear up the trilogy. This man did what took like Marvel 10 years and like 6 crappy movies to get to. Like, let's be real, there's some pretty big duds in the MCU that people don't want to talk about. Thor 2.
Yeah.
I mean, Ant-Man isn't like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, this dude did it, in my opinion, pretty decent. Justice League was shitty. That happened. And then this movie is supposed to gear up for 2 more movies. And it's going to be this very epic Darkseid saga where, I mean, I don't want to get into spoilers yet, but it was going to be that. And now we're left, and he finally got it to us. 4 hours later, I'm sitting there, and I'm like geeking, I'm grinning, and then I just think to myself, oh, this is going to go nowhere. And then I'm like, well, that sucks. Like, that was basically like the way it left me, right?
Yeah.
But now when I mean, we can digest that. I can go further.
We will get into spoilers because, like, you know, don't listen to this episode if you're not here for spoilers or if you haven't seen it.
That was like my highest of clickbait grab the synopsis run of what did Keegan think of Justice League.
Okay. And my disclaimer is like I've only seen Man of Steel leading up to this. Like I didn't see Batman versus Superman. I know what happens in it because I was basically told by everybody and their mother what the movie was. But then, like you said, like it got clowned, so people just made it seem like I shouldn't see it, right? And
Yeah,
then like, what's the third? Is this like the third movie, or was there one before it?
yeah.
So
This
there.
was the third movie.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. So like I missed that context, but I was able to piece together like he did a good job of like explaining what has happened. But
Yeah.
like I'm not on the board of like, so what if it took 4 hours? Like that movie was a fucking slog to me. Like by hour three, I was like, this, I'm bored. Like,
Okay.
and I think I'm just gonna say this at the beginning of that digestion. This dude is so obsessed with slow motion scenes to the point it's just bad. Like I do not want to see slow motion walking, fighting, like deciding what to do next for every scene. And like I feel like that's why the shit was so long because every other scene was just like in slow
I think it's
motion and I was just like we don't need this. Like I just that bothered me.
so there is a number for how many minutes are in slow mo. Do you want to take a stab at how many minutes of the 4 hours?
40.
Nah, it's 24 minutes slow
Okay.
mo. Still pretty rough. If that's a proper critique of that, my only defense to him is I think he got caught up. Well, Zack Snyder in general loves slow mo, and to his credit, the reason he likes it is I think from a visionary standpoint, you get to and capture every detail that he wants you to see out of the action sequence. Now, granted, you can overuse it, and he did. I think for the Flash, some elements were. I feel like the Flash was kind of wasted in this movie a little bit.
Yo, that they did my dude dirty. Like, first
Yeah.
of all, I loved the Flash, but like, all right, those slow motion scenes with the Flash, they make sense, right? But we almost never got to see from the outside perspective what Flash
The
moves like.
Flash.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
I want to see him zip. I want to see like from Wonder Woman's perspective, him help her out real quick. Like, why did I need to see him run in a circle for 30 seconds first before he just dinks it to her? Like, let me see her falling and then Flash come and save her in the nick of time. Like, like that excitement. I just was
Yeah.
missing that.
Yeah, and there's just some things that like with the Snyder cut, maybe I'm curious of whether or not he'd be like, "Oh man, these," because I mean he's just taking this footage and kind of there's not a ton of reshoots.
Yeah, true.
Um, but I will say that like I think that's definitely a proper critique of it. But I like the fact that he utilized the Flash very young. Like the Flash is still trying to figure his shit out. Like he doesn't really do combat very well, and I kinda enjoyed that because, like, he's just kind of a clumsy hero at this point,
Mhm.
and I think they were gearing up for his movie, which is still gonna come out next, so
Flash was my favorite character. Like, the humor that he brought to the table was great. Like, and I think this I drew this conclusion, and I think it's just a little bit ironic. I love the dynamic of Flash to Batman, and it was very like parallel to what I loved in Spider-Man and Iron Man. Like, you got
yeah,
the rich billionaire out here with all the tech and the suit and whatever, training, not so much the Batman and Flash, but like helping out the young, trying to figure out their actual like mutant powers. And I was like, this is kind of funny because this dynamic is exactly what I like about that other one. So like that's what I was drawn towards. But he was really
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, he was, and I think, like, that was enough humor, and it kinda sucks that when Joss Whedon came in, he, like I mean, granted, here's the context of Joss Whedon and this whole thing and what he did. He was given a pretty shitty scenario. Like, absolute shit. Like, major director leaves film, gets given this massive thing, and the executives are like, "We don't like how dark it is. You need to make it kinda like MCU." So, I mean, that sucks. It sucks that it happened, but I'm so happy Snyder got his, like, at least he has out there his final what he wanted to do with it. So it's like you can't shit on him anymore. Like it's out
Oh
there.
yeah.
Like
Like he did his piece. He's happy with it. I still don't understand the 4:3 aspect ratio, but you know, like they put a little disclaimer on it like in order to preserve his creative vision, this is filmed in 4:3 ratio. Like, all right, cool. I'm going to be bothered by it.
I don't necessarily think it was the worst thing in the world. I think it was definitely over dramatic on the response of it. It definitely would have been fine in IMAX and whatever, but yeah, I feel like that's one thing. Him going through this, I feel like he could have just like not died on that hill and just.
Do you know why he wanted it though? Like his what was the creative vision he was trying to achieve? Because I felt like with the 4:3 framing, like some frames looked weird, like wrong because they couldn't fit what they were trying to on the screen. Like they had two people talking and it was like you could really only see like their shoulders and this and like it just didn't look normal.
I mean, we can rehash the whole argument behind it, but basically, there are directors and filmmakers out there that argue that that is the better ratio and that it does better on IMAX screens.
Mhm.
So, with I mean, there's all kinds of comparisons of it. Basically, with widescreen, you're just losing the same top and bottom that he's losing on left and right. He wants a fuller image this way, so you can like I don't know. There's all kinds of like arguments of both. I think it's kind of dumb to like when you finally get the reins back, that's the part that you are also like, by the way, this has to be it this way. I'm like, dude, just like take the break of like being able to redo your film
Yeah.
and release it out. Like, I wouldn't have died on that hill. Like, if that would have broke the whole deal and we found out that that's what broke it, I think fans would have been even more mad about the
Yeah.
whole situation. It's one of those things where I genuinely don't think the industry is going to change. I don't think people are going to really use this aspect ratio really after this. Like it's not going to be like the pivoting moment, but it is what it is, I guess.
I didn't see the original Justice League movie, so, like, I don't even have anything to compare it to because everybody's like, "It's trash, don't watch it," you know what I mean? So
Yeah, so let's break down the differences. First off, so Steppenwolf, main baddie in this movie, right?
mhm,
Well, not really, but yeah, he is. He's like the henchman for Darkseid. But last Justice League, you don't see Darkseid. You don't know really that besides unless you're a nerd, know that Steppenwolf was sent by Darkseid.
mhm,
There's really no context of the mother boxes or why they're on Earth or anything.
mhm.
There's no explanation of that. They don't really explain how they reached the conclusion to bring Superman back to life. Just kind of happens. And then
I couldn't that was, like, pivotal. Like, I loved that scene when then Flash was like, "I don't wanna be the one to say it, but, like, are we doing this?" Like, that was dope.
like the scene where they're on top of Gotham, like those heroes just all kind of randomly show up and there's no context of why. And then like I mean, I'm just trying to remember off memory because I did not watch it like back to back,
Yeah.
obviously. But the mother boxes is just really confusing. The way they get to the end of the like the final in Chernobyl place, the radiation, they don't really explain how they got there or the timing of Superman to joining them. Also the fight sequences really at that ending, you really only saw Jason Momoa go in the air and like land, and
Mhm,
then they get to the final part and they beat Steppenwolf. That's like the end.
okay.
Just picture that 4 hours and then they just fast forward and cut like all the context.
Yeah, I mean,
You
like,
got
that's what this movie felt like. Like, it was almost like they just didn't cut out a lot of the raw footage, like, it was just like, "Here's just everything," right? Like, what all
yeah.
everything you need to know.
Yeah, Steppenwolf got like barely any screen time. Got like maybe a few lines. Also looked awful. I loved the new way that he looked.
Yeah, he looked pretty
Like, you
cool.
didn't know that, like, Steppenwolf was banished by Darkseid. You didn't know any of that. You don't know why he's doing this evil shit. Like, he's
You
just
still
there.
owe 50,000 more worlds.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just so much, like, you would for a movie where it's like a team up, like, even in Avengers, there's a bunch of context of how they got to, like, team up.
granted, it is across like so many more movies though.
Correct. And then in the Justice League movie, the first one, like they just were like, yeah, we'll work together. Done.
Yeah. I mean, I
um,
did find that like when I was watching, I was like, basically they're trying to put together from 3 movies what Marvel tried to do across like, 15 or whatever. And
and
like,
Zack Snyder should get way more credit for like what he was able to achieve in just 3 movies.
yeah. And I mean, like, this is why like I don't want to tear it apart from the concept of like, okay, it was just too long and like I felt like this should have been spread out because obviously that also comes in with like the administrative things like with the companies and like the clashes. So like I'm not here to like completely shit all over that, but like
Yeah.
I do feel like the just the entire tone of these DC movies confuses me because like they are darker, right? And then they do throw in their occasional humor. But then like when they're actually battling is where I feel like they miss the mark personally. I don't know what it is, but like I kind of feel like they focus more on trying to get these like perfect shots within a battle sequence than how the actual battle is going.
And that is Zack Snyder to a T.
And it
It's
bothered me
not
the entire movie. Like
so
I
you have to take the context of his directing style, and I totally agree with you. First of all, I want to say that
okay.
because if you look at a movie like 300, okay,
Mhm.
when it came out, it was like, oh my god, awesome. If you go back to that movie and compare it to the way he directed this Justice League Snyder cut, I mean, it makes sense. There's so many slow-mo motion like times in 300 and where really it wasn't about the whole battle, it was about like one specific like shot by shot by shot action sequence.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely and those are all proper critiques of it. Like that's why I'm really excited for The Batman with Robert Pattinson because in that one trailer they showed, I think they're going to focus on a really young Batman
Mhm.
and you're gonna see like combat within a dark sense of DC style vigilante, and it's not gonna be slow mo. It's gonna be like these fast moving, like almost like John Wick style combat sequences with Batman.
That would be
Because
really
you
cool.
gotta the other context of Ben Affleck as Batman, which I think is a great Batman, and I really hope because there's a multiple campaigns that spun out of this, right? Because they're like, all right, Warner Brothers, let's do the other things we want. So like the fan base, they because you know how at the end Darkseid's like, we'll just do it the old ways.
Yeah.
Everyone on Twitter's like, they heard Warner Brothers said they're not gonna do a David Ayers cut, they're not gonna do a Snyder verse, they're not gonna give us Ben Affleck's solo Batman movie. So everyone on Twitter's like, we'll do it the old ways, and they're doing Twitter campaigns again.
Yeah.
Um, but Batman is super old. Like in this movie, in Justice League Snyder Cut, he has gone through the Killing Joke, which is where the Joker kills Robin.
Mhm.
And if you don't know that context, it's gonna be really confusing at the end.
All this context you're saying, I'm piecing together with like remnants of shit that you've said to me in the past and just like pop culture in general. I was like, okay, so this is like when he killed the fucking Robin and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, is this like happening? And then he wakes up and I'm like, all right, like what's going on here?
Yeah, so basically, Batman has gone through the Killing Joke, which is a comic series where basically Joker gives like an ultimatum and like a timeline, it doesn't make it, and then Jason Todd gets killed. Um, supposedly, but he gets killed, and then that like sends Batman to a dark world. Um, so that has happened. He's old. He's been fighting crime for like 20 plus years. So there's, I mean, you have to put that context into this, and like he's reaching a phase in his life where like there's fucking aliens now on Earth. So he's like realizing that. So it's really interesting to see like they don't make Batman like this badass like that does all this stuff. He does like strategic things that
Mhm.
he knows is within his wheelhouse. So that's smart. So Superman obviously died in Batman vs Superman. So that's the context you missed from that, but you knew that. Um, I like, I really enjoyed the fact because also in the first Justice League movie, that whole intro where Superman dies and he screams out
Mhm.
was not in the first Justice League movie.
Yeah, that seemed like
And
a pretty key thing to
and
say.
it really was. And also, the other thing, when Wonder Woman explains the mother boxes,
Mhm.
not in Justice League, the first one, at all.
Yeah, I'm kinda glad I haven't watched the first one then. Like, it just
Dude, yeah, no, trash. So, I guess, I mean, I don't know if there's any other specific moments inside the Justice League, but I can go into, like, the post-credit scenes that they just put at the epilogue, because that will tell you what was gonna happen in the next 2 movies. Basically, his nightmares and everything leading up was gonna be about, there's this storyline where basically Joker kills Lois Lane,
Mhm.
and Superman pretty much blames Batman for not killing the Joker, all this stuff. Darkseid manipulates his grief, utilizes Superman as like a pawn, and basically there's an evil Superman that they got to defeat. That's
Okay.
where like the end of the world kind of happens because he gets his hands on the life equation, which is on Earth, which is like a whole ordeal. Um, Basically, when he gets his hands on that, he can basically take over the entire universe. Kind of a Thanos moment, if you will.
I saw a lot of parallels to that sort of thing, but, I mean, like, these are made in, like they take their own influences from other things and other pop culture, and, like, when especially when, like, he succeeds in getting all 3 mother boxes into the thing, and then everybody's like, "Oh, we're fucked," and then they rewind time, I'm like, "Okay, that's Infinity War type shit right there." So, like, there's just different parallels right there.
Yeah, and that really helps them gear up for the Flash. They basically like honestly, this Justice League movie, if it would have just came out the way it was supposed to, it geared up Warner Brothers and DC up really well for all their movies because it took what DC couldn't wrap their head around was their style of movies was more serious. And so when you start making serious movies about kind of goofy comics, it's hard, right? And they finally this movie would have, like, made everything seem pretty serious and geared up for what we wanna see. And then they could even tackle Green Lantern, which they're about to, and it's a TV show. Um, so, yeah, they geared up for The Flash is gonna be like the Flashpoint where he time travels a lot. Um, Theoretically was gonna gear them up for the next Justice League movie where he was trying to tell them Lois is the key, meaning, if she dies, that's what Superman will, freak out
Yeah.
and kill everyone. Um, so the Joker scene though, okay? Jared Leto comes back. I wasn't super upset with the dialogue between the two of them. I thought that was great. I thought it was really cool. I like the fact that Batman he's pissed off, he's had enough, and he's like, "I will kill you." That when he said that, I was just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeet." Um, but Jared Leto's Joker straight up is dog shit. Like I can't defend him anymore. He got a second crack at it, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I still wasn't feeling him, and I honestly just think it's his laugh. The laugh is just bad.
Dude, his
Like,
laugh wasn't a laugh; it was a croak. Uh, uh, and I think what Jared Leto's problem was is like honestly his Suicide Squad Joker was better than the one he just portrayed. But like the one he portrayed, it felt like he was trying to play like Ted Bundy or something. Like Joker is like a maniacal, like twisted dude, not like some savvy serial killer guy. Like I don't know.
yeah, I didn't think he felt like insane enough. Like, he just was like a weird dude. That
And
was it.
even when he did his jokes and stuff, he didn't the fact that he didn't laugh after when he did his jokes and stuff, it just like it was missing. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
God. But anyways, I really like that dynamic. I like the Lex Luthor bringing in Deathstroke. Deathstroke looked dope.
Yeah.
That's another context to the fact that Batman's been fighting crime for 20 years. It also shows that Batman took his eye out and fought Deathstroke. So like all those things were so cool nods to like just building up an environment for them to succeed. And it baffles me that like Warner Brothers wouldn't want this. They wouldn't want to keep going because honestly, it's only uphill from there. Like you guys tackled your biggest problem, which was a horrible Justice League.
Yeah. I mean, that's like what has made Marvel so successful, just the fact that there's so many crossovers and like it meets up to something. Even though they struggled through it at the beginning, like people have high expectations now, and I think that's what they want out of DC movies. So
Yeah, they just kept going. Like they didn't just stop. They didn't like, oh man, Iron Man 2 didn't do so hot. Well, let's just bag it up. We're
yeah,
done.
yeah, like I guess like moral of the story for the Snyder Cut for me is like I thought it was decent. Personally, to me, I felt like it was too long. I mean, I don't have anything to compare it to with the original Justice League, but I do feel like some sort of like hybrid between that original 2 hour and this new 4 hour movie would have been nicer because
Yeah.
I do feel kind of like there was a lot of extraneous things in the movie. And I mean, that's his creative vision. Like he's doing that for himself, and that's what he wanted to do. But like, I feel like in a superhero movie like this, where there is so much to put together, you can't be so focused on like just like the environmental like cinematic cutscenes that aren't really adding to anything other than looking cool because like it's really cool cinematography, right? But like it's
Mhm.
not really doing much for the main story. Whereas like
Right.
again, I'm gonna just use like Endgame as a reference. Like that movie was 3.5 hours, but there was never not something happening, right? So you didn't notice the fact that you spent 3.5 hours. Like it was just like nonstop action or like progression of the story. And I'm not saying he needs to do that breakneck speed, but like there was a lot of downtime that I just kind of was like, "Oh my goodness, like we got to just get to the next like battle sequence or more story being told," because I was kind of like bored for a bit of it. But
Yeah.
that's just my end all be all. Loved the Flash, thought he was funny, liked his dynamic with Batman, so I'm excited to see him in more movies. Um
Yeah, him and Batman are in The Flash, so also
dope.
Michael Keaton's Batman's in the Flash.
Wait, so there's 2 Batmans in the Flash? Is this like a crossover universe thing?
Yeah, because the Flashpoint's basically he's gonna go to different Earths. He's gonna go to different Earths. He's gonna like Flashpoint's such a good comic series because it's just so messy. But like, yeah.
Oh, one thing I forgot that, I thought was like, I'm glad they addressed this. You know how, like, Batman notoriously has just, like, disappeared when talking mid-sentence, right? Like, when Flash was still there and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, they just
Oh,
leave like that, huh? That's kinda rude." I started dying laughing because like, every other Batman movie, like, when he just leaves and they just like, "Oh, whatever."
yo, before I forget, biggest thing. Did you catch the Lowest Lane Easter egg?
Probably not. I don't know.
When she opens her drawer to grab her badge to go back to work,
The pregnancy test.
the pregnancy test.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that baby in her stomach,
Okay,
cuh.
so, like, that's supposed to be, like, confirmation that there is.
100%.
Okay, because I was like, "Okay, I see
So
that there, but is that just kinda like them tossing some shit around?" Or, like, because I don't see no plus sign on it.
Snyder said that he was planning to have Lois Lane have Superman's baby, and then that baby was gonna be trained to be the next Batman. I
You're
mean, Snyder verse. Make it happen. I want to see what the fuck he was gonna do, because
that
that
would be
is
so cool.
crazy town. Uh, I can't even imagine a Justice League 2.
I feel like the Twitter people need to just they gotta keep pushing. It'll happen.
They did. There was a day where everyone tweeted it out. I don't remember which day it was, but like it was like millions of tweets.
Snyder
So I
Day.
don't know. I have no idea. We'll see what happens, but I say fuck it. Like it obviously worked. Like I don't know the stats of it yet because they haven't released the metrics of how many people watched it, but from my knowledge, literally everyone that I know owns HBO watched it. Some people that don't even like comic book movies and they watched a 4 hour fucking dude. Shit, I've watched it like 3 times now. Actually, yeah.
I have no words for that. All right, so you've watched it 3 times. Can I ask you a question about like not the movie itself, but just something about the movie?
Mm, mm.
Did it have horrible audio mixing for you? Because that was the most up and down volume movie I have ever watched. He
What, you
just
didn't like
forgot to normalize the movie. Like,
what,
straight up,
you
I had to fully max my soundbar to hear dialogue to
oh.
be ear bled when they change scenes. Like, my dude, just
I
go into Premiere or Final Cut and toss that fucking normalization on because you killed me.
I didn't have that issue, but when Wonder Woman enters the screen and goes, "Hi-ya, yeah, that shit blew up my soundbar.
Oh my
Dun, dun,
goodness.
dun, 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 dun.
Cause
Yeah,
like
that shit.
I'm telling you, like the soft talking dialogue, like when Lois Lane is talking to what she thought was his mom, and like they're like
Yeah, like
fucking whispering. And then it's like the next scene, I literally like racing to cut my volume down. Like it
dude.
was so bad. I had to hold the fucking remote for the entire 4 hours, bro. Like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like I'm getting a thumb workout.
I don't know. I ultimately I'm happy. Like I'm not like I don't think this is like a masterpiece or like fuck you to Marvel or anything like that. This is just like finally we got like one thing delivered that we were promised. You know what I mean? Like it Man of Steel was maybe kind of a win. Batman vs Superman, like I wasn't super upset with it, but a lot of people were. So Suicide Squad was butchered. Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 2, don't even get me started on those. Don't get me started on Aquaman. Shazam was actually good. And then like I think we were just like, okay, they actually finally gave us the full package of what we wanted. And that's
Mhm.
what he everything that Snyder said he did. He did it what he included in there. So
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm in a
woo.
similar boat. I think I didn't enjoy it as much as you, but it was solid. I'm gonna blow your head a little bit before we wrap up the show with just a little fun fact. Do you think, because I do, that the Flash's actor sounds like Phil, Collector Phil, who was just on the show? There were so many
Oh
moments in the
yeah.
movie where I'm like,
a hundred
"Is that
percent.
Phil?" Like I'm hearing Phil's voice. It was
A
so
hundred
weird.
percent. 100%.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna blow your mind a little bit as well. Also, the Atom got teased as well. The hero, the Atom, basically Ant-Man in DC world. He was the Asian like coworker
Oh,
for
yeah, he
when
got
like they're
promoted
like
at the end.
you're in charge of the micro whatever
Yeah.
division. He's like, oh yeah. So
Hopefully they use all that shit, man. Cause like otherwise it's all gonna go to waste.
I mean, that's what we're trying to campaign for, but like HBO's like, or not HBO, Warner Brothers is like, nah, we're not gonna do it. Because I think they like if they, I think in their head, if they do it, they're submitting defeat that they like really fucked up
Mhm.
over again. Because you got to remember, this was 2017, and like they're still feeling the burn of what they did to the fan base, and then like they finally delivered it, and I think they just want to be like done.
Yeah.
So, but so I don't blame them for being like, "No, let's move on," but I don't want them to. I want them to finish the fucking trilogy.
We'll see. Well, thanks for tuning in and listening to us talk about the Snyder Cut. If you
Yeah.
haven't watched it and you listen to us, you're stupid. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know why.
Wow.
You should probably go watch it if you got 4 hours.
Somebody just hit dislike on our video.
We haven't had one yet, so
Yeah, that's true. But hey, if you didn't dislike it, why don't you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell if you want notifications.
if you want. All right, we'll catch you in the next one.
See you guys maybe next week.
You're so
I know.